So I pretty much shoot everything with wide angle lenses. Like, as a photographer, I'm not overly concerned about, I'm not really interested in showing how the world actually looks, which kind of flies in the face of street photography a little bit. I'm here to show you how it looks to me, or how it feels when I'm inside it. I think in this day and age where it's like everyone's got a camera, everyone's documenting life as it is anyway, so the least I can do as a photographer is put a bit of a spin on it. So I shoot predominantly with 24mm, 35mm, and more recently, in actual fact, a 20mm. The last couple of years I've been shooting, I'm not shooting full frames, I'm shooting crop sensor. So I shoot with a 16mm, which is the equivalent to 24mm, and a 23mm, which is the equivalent of a 35mm, okay? And more recently, I'm shooting with a 13mm lens as well, a Viltrox lens, which is the equivalent of 20mm, okay? So we're talking wide, yeah? Why do I shoot this wide? When I say I'm like the title of this video, I'm shooting with the wrong lens. There isn't a wrong lens, you understand, okay? You shoot with whatever you want. An 85mm, 50mm lens are kind of seen as more flattering for portraits, right? Portraiture. They kind of are. They're safer. Narrower, longer lenses are kind of safer. They can kind of be more complementary to the subject you're shooting. So we have to be discerning. How do we want the photograph to look? The clients we're shooting for, if we're shooting clients as opposed to like portraits out on the street, for example. But see, this is why I like shooting with wider lenses, because they're more dangerous. You kind of have to really be in there when you're taking the photograph in terms of seeing what's going on through the viewfinder, seeing what's in front of you, because you're kind of bending space. You need to also force proximity, right? You need to get in closer, and that getting in closer opens up more possibilities, all sorts of possibilities. And obviously, you know, we've got to talk about distortion. You know, distortion for me is kind of a creative tool. I'm aware as I'm shooting what's going on, okay? I mean, I've been shooting this way for a long time, probably close to 15 years shooting with wide lenses, shooting portraits. I used to be a wedding photographer, and I decided quite early on that I kind of wanted to mix things up. I wanted to shoot with wider lenses. I just wanted things to be that little more cinematic, almost like kind of awkward in places, and have like an oddity to the work, and not least the portraits. Most wedding photographers are shooting with an 85 or a 50mm in terms of shooting portraits. Usually the closest they'll come to really pushing it is a 35mm. Like that 85mm is kind of the realm of like glamour photography. I'm not interested in glamour photography. Even the fashion photography that I like, the guys are shooting with wider lenses, 35mm, 24mm lenses. But shooting with these wide lenses as well, this kind of isn't guesswork. Like I said, you need to be immersed. You need to be seeing as you're shooting, and you need to know, or get to know through practice, like which focal length is gonna facilitate you getting the kind of photograph that you want in this instant, okay? The lenses that I use when I'm shooting street portraits, I kind of use them as well when I'm shooting more editorial, fashion work or brand work, but I kind of have to get a feel for what the client wants as well. Like, at the end of the day, the client's booking me for my point of view, okay? And I'm gonna fight for dear life to give them my shots, yeah? And it's kind of a collaboration as well, right? They're paying me money. So I think a lot photographers, when they're starting out, there's a lot of, I mean, I run a community on WhatsApp, the Dev Photography community, and there is always this feeling of, how should I do it? Like, how should my portrait look? And what happens in time with practice is that you begin to have a certainty, or in the moment whilst you're taking the shot, about how you want the image to look. It's practice, right? Like, to create that certainty of approach, knowing what you want, It does take practice. You can't really fast track it. With some clients, I'll push it more than other clients. Also, when I'm out on the street shooting street portraits, I don't want my images to be grotesque. The people I'm shooting out on the street are people too, right? I want them to like their images. So this is not about putting on the widest lens possible and getting in as close as possible and just clicking and hoping for the best. Absolutely not. It's kind of knowing how I want this image to look. Like I have a feeling. Yeah, it's not an idea going in. It's like I'm looking through the viewfinder. I'm watching. I'm present, or as present as I can be in that moment. And the reality of it is, for me, the degree to which I'm present is the degree to which I'm gonna get the shot that I want. But again, the whys. Why am I shooting with these wide lenses? Why not just shoot with a 50? I kind of want my images to have like an oddity about them. It's life, but not as you know it. I want this camera to fall into alignment with how I'm seeing that person in that moment. I want my frames to feel a bit off center, off the beaten track, but in a way that pulls you in, doesn't push you away. So my whole range is pretty much between 20mm and 35, and at a push, occasionally I'll use a 50mm equivalent. Yes. Another reason that I'm wanting to shoot wide lenses and that I shoot wide lenses, and I've talked about this before on previous videos, is that I want to be immersed in the process rather than stepping too far back and shooting kind of anonymously or from across the street. Being immersed and being interacting with my subject or the scene, it just opens up all sorts of possibilities. I see more. It's almost like I'm creating a scenario. I'm creating a happenings, and as a consequence of that, the images are always that little bit more dynamic. Yeah, especially with street portraits, where having a dialogue with the person that I'm shooting, and they'll begin to open up. Even show me physical stuff, might be a photo from a wallet or a tattoo that I just wouldn't have seen from across the street. So they'll be engaging with the camera, leaning forward, scratching their ear, picking their nose, brushing their hair. I'm in there and I'm shooting all of that. So guys, please check out the podcast if you haven't already. I think you'll enjoy it. It's the Dare Photography Podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, I think you'll love it. It's kind of keeping it real, okay? It's a bit of an anti-podcast. It's like, you never know what you're getting, okay? We keep it real, anti-bullshit, and the Dare Photography Podcast does what it says on the tin, really. Don't forget to grab a copy of my zine if you haven't already, The Way of the Street Photographer. It's quite small, it's about 60 pages. Lots of juicy content in there, lots of little insights. Hopefully gonna inspire you, get you out of trouble when you need a shot of inspiration. Guys, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you don't mind, and I'll see you on the next video.
Though we try to make it work,